Welcome back to Death Metal Daddies. I'm Jeff.
I'm Silas.
Oh yeah, welcome back to Death Metal Daddies.
Hmm.
Yeah, back
Welcome
at it.
back.
Episode 15.
Still doing it.
Yep, 15 weeks
No
later.
one, no one's stopping us. Although we are getting a bunch of hate mail, death threats, suicide notes.
Just,
Unfortunately,
just the
no,
hot
I'm just
takes.
kidding.
So, how you been? How you been past week? What you been up to?
Oh, just the usual. Pretty busy, man. Um, Mowed my yard, did some foam work. About to do some more foam work. I just feel like I've been fucking moving every day. I don't feel like I'm getting enough sleep though. Definitely lacking on the sleep. Um, just kind of running on caffeine, really. Mowed the yard today after the recent rains, so not too bad. Looking good again. What about you? Anything interesting?
Not really anything new or interesting. I did watch, because of our conversation, I did end up watching Blade again.
Oh, really?
Other than that,
Nice.
nothing really new. Yeah, I did find a shooting range near me, so I can actually go take my new rifle over and actually get the sight fitted how I want it. So I'm
Sweet.
planning on
Are you
doing
gonna
that
dress
this
up as
Saturday
Are you gonna dress up as Blade?
while I shoot on the shooting range. Sure, just in the dead heat of August in Missouri, big old hunting
Samurai
rifle.
sword. Fucking just mags loaded all over you. Big old trench coat, sunglasses.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be that guy wearing a trench
Yeah.
coat to a shooting range.
Yeah. They'd
What's this guy
instantly
doing?
probably just fucking they'd just probably take you out instantly.
Yeah, nothing new.
Oh my God, it's happening. As you're just walking. Oh shit.
Already give it that look a little bit. I don't want to add the trench coat to add it even more.
Yeah.
No, just I've been really focusing on because I feel like we had a lot of homework with this episode, not necessarily with the new releases,
hmm
but with listening to all of the Cannibal Corpse. I guess I didn't realize it was 16 albums.
Yeah, I didn't I gotta throw that out there. I did not make it through that many at all. But, you know.
Some I
I
listened to
mean,
like a few tracks just to get a feel like, meh, I understand what's going on. Then moved on to the
yeah,
next one.
exactly. Like there's an era for me, in my opinion. I'm sure there's cannibal diehards out there that would fight me to the death over this, but there's just a big era where their albums just blend all together. And like
I
I
think me
cannot
and you were
really
thinking the
decipher them.
same period too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. New Cannibal is my favorite. It just is. This is when they caught my attention. I felt like, and I guess we'll get into that later. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
a
Yeah,
lot
a
of
lot of
homework on.
homework with this one. Yeah, and the playlist was good though. I
Mhm.
did enjoy a band on there.
Which one?
I don't know if you Fulci.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's my favorite. Like they knocked it out of the park, I think, on that album.
Hmm.
And like I listened to that album probably three times now in a week, which is like as far as the new releases go, that's been the one that takes the lead that I've gone back to, I think. I mean, well, there's probably a few others, but it's a really good release, man.
Oh
Really,
yeah.
and it like oh, so what I was getting at though is like their album would play through and then it would just kind of do the Spotify random pick for you, and some old Fulci came on there, and it's just I don't know. I automatically didn't think it was as good as this new album, but damn, what a fucking badass blended tunes, man.
Oh yeah. And since we're on, let's stay on with this new releases because yeah, the new Fulci, it's great. It's what's it called? Duck Face Killings.
Yes.
Just came out. it's a great vibe from even just the album cover to the some of the things they put in the album kind of give it that
Yeah,
cheesy 80s movie vibe, and
well,
it
like, and
adds
even like features, the
mhm,
features were like
the
really
random
interesting choices.
the random rap.
Yeah,
what song was that again that they had the rap
yeah.
on?
I gotta
Was
look up this
I want to
track
say the
list real
feature was
quick.
Lord Goat. Yeah, Knife.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Lord Goat. So there's yeah, so is that the rap one? Knife?
yeah, that was the rap one.
And then you have TV Crimes. They feature on a couple, and I'm almost guessing that that's the synths and the electronic
I think
stuff
so.
because that each one of those tracks kind of has those vibes in it. But yeah, wild kind of features it looks like. I mean, I don't know. I You said these guys are from Italy, is that right?
I think so. I want to say that's right.
But I don't know, man. It was just such a nice surprise. Like I wasn't expecting this sound. And it was like after the first song ends, the first song kind of ends into the second track, A Blade in the Dark, and then it goes into this like synthy, like kind of beat, like
Hmm.
trap beat almost. I was like, what the hell is this, dude? Like it was just like total attention grabbing for me. And so I don't know, I just got super super stoked on it, man. Like this is and the production is I think what makes them stand out against all the other bands kind of doing the throwback death metal vibes. This production, in my opinion, is the perfect sound. I think
Hmm.
it's what I want. Like a lot of those other bands are doing the real uber reverb vocals, which is cool. And that's, this is just almost a different style. The vocals are like really gurgly, right in your face. They're not like hiding back there with like, in the cave or something like that. It's full force right there. Even the guitars too. I mean, it's all like it's got like a crisp sound, but almost like the old school techniques and stuff, or like the songwriting kind of not songwriting, but like the music tunes. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I it was very good. I was having a hard time because I feel like I thought 200 Stab Wounds was going to be like, oh, this is probably the greatest of this genre this year. But Fulci, I feel like I don't know if it's a recency bias, but I feel like I like this one even more than the 200 Stab Wounds that came out a month ago. It's
Mhm.
I feel like the album is more seamless. Like those weird synthy parts, they add to it, but they also help the album like help make you want to stay with the album instead of getting bored with it. Helps it
Yeah.
helps the album progress.
Well, and it's like I think, To Understand Ones, it's funny you brought that up because I thought of them when I listened to this album because they do kind of the same thing, almost like a different effect on the synth or something. And they kind of stop the the movement that was happening and like just totally change it up on you. But that's what I think is so great in not just songwriting, but album writing, like picking these songs like in this order, I think is what made me like not just sit through the album. I hate saying that because like I enjoyed the full ride, but it's those things, those subtle little things that make it just perfect, dude. And I think
Hmm.
this is like one of those perfect albums. It really is. I just love their sound, man. But like their ideas behind those synth parts and shit, it's just chef's kiss songwriting, I think, man.
Yep.
I love this album.
Yeah, we finally got a good album again. I feel like it's been a minute since we've had a really great album on one of these new release playlists.
Hmm. Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's why you kind of lacked in all the others
yeah,
because this one, like, pretty much, I mean, for me, it stole the show. I thought Hammerfall was like, whoa, this is a bold choice, my friend.
yeah. I'm not
Uh,
too familiar with the band, but I thought I'd give it a try, and I got about one full song in. Is like, all right, this is not for me.
I,
I guess they realized that transitioning from Fulci to this, I was not in the mood for power metal at all. Even just trying to
it's a,
force myself.
it's a hard turn. I mean, it's a bold choice, but I couldn't help but wonder. I knew we were going to bring this up, so it's like, are power metal fans death metal fans? Is there death metal fans that are power metal fans? Like,
I feel like
because I
they're.
almost feel like they're so different in sound that
Mhm.
there's a path that the metal listener takes, and they just kind of stay in those lanes. And power metal and death metal, it's not really one that crosses, you know, like you kind of get the melodic metal within power metal, but you never really get chuggy breakdowns and shit
Yeah,
like that, you know?
I feel like there's probably two different types. There's probably those that are absolutely against it, the death metal. They're probably say more in like traditional heavy metal sound, power metal, maybe some speed metal, maybe some thrash, but death metal's too far. Then I think there's others
Yeah.
that tried. There are people who kind of like culminate in like a little bit of every little pocket of extreme metal. They might do a little bit of power metal, a little bit of death metal, a little
Hmm.
bit of grindcore, a little bit of sludge and stuff like that, which is what like I feel like I would try to be, but as soon as I put on Hammerfall, I was like, I'm not digging this. This is not something I was wanting.
It's
I
a
feel like I have to
vibe.
be in a
Like you,
mood.
yeah, you know, and it's like it's another great comparison to like my World of Warcraft days, man. This would have been a band that I would have been like, 'cause I went through like a small power metal phase just of interest because okay, when I listen to power metal, I just want to be able to sing like that. I think that it takes talent, like, like, oh, dude, I just want to do that like full blast though, you know, it's like so fun. Like if I could just fucking strap on some leather and just belt out. You know, it'd be so cool. But I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
do feel like there
it,
is a level
it's
of
it,
freedom with it.
yeah, for sure. Like, there's a badass aspect to it. I'm not certainly listening to it every day. I'm definitely into heavier things, but I do think it still takes a lot of talent to do that thing or to you know sing like that. But I don't know. I would assume that the average power metal listener prefers power metal because they can understand the words and the lyrics and stuff. And there's a distinct like change in the lyrics too. Like power metal, I don't think is typically death even. It's like that this Hammerfall album was you know, we stand, we fight type shit. And so it's like I don't know, too positive for me. I was like I got like really deep in this album actually, but then I looked at how long it was and I was like, oh, not a fucking chance. I can't sit through that. It's just, you know, I don't listen to it enough to like, I was like, no, I need something sad, heavy, terrible, and, you know,
Yeah,
a lot more harsh than this. So I couldn't get through it all, but I still respect the talent that it takes to play that kind of stuff.
yeah. And that's what I know. This name sound, the band sounded familiar. I want to say they're. I feel like
Oh, I
they're
think
more
they're
like the
huge.
bigger acts in power
Yeah,
metal.
I think so. They're like I'm pretty sure like a pretty big headlining band, but and they've been around for some time. But yeah, it's just not one of my main listens. So
Yeah, and that album is. What is this album called again? If anyone's interested in some newer power metal, the name of this album is called Avenge the Fallen.
yeah, and I mean the lyrics in that song is like "We will avenge."
Yeah,
I mean, you pretty much get it. You know, it's like you can pretty much sing all of these titles really. Freedom.
yeah.
Like that song was pretty ridiculous.
I think I only listened to the opening track, which is the title track, and it was just that, just full frontal cheese of just the title track, Avenge the Fallen. Just the
Yeah.
I couldn't handle more of it, so I didn't stick around
Like
with
it
it.
honestly looks like World of Warcraft on the cover. Like I'm almost wondering if it's like not or if it is. It's like a I don't know, medieval like character dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to all the Hammerfall fans.
yeah. Not trying to shit on any of you. Just
No.
not my not my cup of tea at the moment, especially after a
Put some
Fulci album.
put some Bree Brees and
Yeah.
Gurgurs in there and they'll give it a better chance.
So on to the other album I have on here. What did you think of Siamese?
Uh, I was like, I didn't listen to that one. I kind of skipped over it. I could tell what, or I kind of seemed or assumed what kind of music it was, gave it a little second, but I just wasn't feeling that vibe. It was like you said, once I heard that Fulci, I was like, oh, I gotta try to find something like this.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted heavy. So
Yeah. I listened to, I think, probably the same amount as Hammerfall as I did Siamese. It was once I heard it, was like, oh, I can tell what this is going to be. And this is not what I'm wanting. It sounds like, it reminds me of like newer Bring Me the Horizon, kind of like a poppy, almost like post metalcore, if you want to call it that, like
hmm
modern metalcore, but without like the heaviness. I think there was a little bit of screams. I don't remember. I was just this is not something I was interested in, so I did not stick around with it. Uh,
Same.
if if does sound like something you're interested in, that is the new song by Siam or new album by Siamese called Elements. But then we get on to the singles, which is what I spent most of my time with outside of Fulci. I love a lot of the singles that came out.
For sure. Hang
Like,
on real quick. I just heard a big bang. Just hang on.
uh, so up first for singles, we have Supreme Ruler by Kublai Khan.
Oh gosh, man. What a fucking sick groove.
I'm pretty sure it's
If you
probably going
haven't
to be
heard
like
this
the
song,
opening track of the new album, but even then, I just had
yeah.
to keep replaying it.
Yeah. Have you watched the video?
I have not.
It's worth it. It's weird, but I kind of dig it. But he's wearing like kind of looks like medieval age, and it just like opens up with him and looks like his burial, and then it just like kicks into the heavy shit, and then he's sitting like on a throne, and like he's got a couple like fucking medieval like women chicks like just around him, and he's just sitting on the throne, and he's got a big fucking like metal arm, and he's just like when it says "the suffering," he just Supreme Ruler just like mounts it. I don't know. It's so weird, but it's like artistically very pleasing. I don't know. It really is. It's just like visually pleasing. I don't know. It's cool. I thought it was really badass actually, but and it's like so ridiculous that it's like 30 seconds, but or however long it is. But yeah, a badass jam. 54. So it's like a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, video is interesting. I don't know if that's like it almost looks like Mad Max-ish, kind of.
Okay.
You have to check it out. But yeah, I guess that's on the new album, Exhibition of Prowess. Looks sick.
That's yeah. I am kind of excited for that because it's been how long since Absolute came out?
Yeah, quite a while, man. I
Like
think that was like
5 years at
2021.
least.
Oh, really?
Because I want to say that came out like pre-COVID. I want to say I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
actually, you're probably right. Man,
Yeah,
they
2019
got
is
such
Absolute.
a they just got such sick grooves in their tunes. Yeah, it was 2019. Hmm,
All right.
that's
Then up
awesome.
next, we talked a little bit about this song last week. Mammoth's Hand by Black Dahlia Murder.
Oh, yes. Dude, that's a badass song.
Oh yeah. Um, although I feel like we did talk about it last week, so I don't know if we really need to cover it too much. But I mean, it's a sick track. Um,
It's worth a gander. I'm
yeah.
digging the new Black Dahlia sound. I think it's sick, man. I listened to the
Hmm.
track again today. Because it just sounds so nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the viciousness and nastiness is kind of back and a little bit more raw. So I am
Yeah, for
enjoying
sure.
where they're going with it. Um, then up next we have the new track from the upcoming new Undeath album. The song is Brandish the Blade. Did you
Oh
check this
yeah.
one out?
Yes, I did. And the first time I did not give it enough attention that I heard it. Listening to it again on the playlist, it's like super catchy. And then just I feel like the guitar he just shreds, man, throughout the whole thing. But yeah, it's a freaking ripper. I'm uh I'm definitely pumped for that album.
Yeah. Um, and if anyone doesn't has that listens to this that doesn't listen to Undeath, I recommend at least checking this song out because I noticed it today. Like the break, almost like a breakdown, like halfway through the song, just gets you going. It's a
Hmm.
short one, but it gets you going. It kind of makes you last the rest of the song because the guitars kind of keep ripping the rest of the song. So it's a good song. Very excited for the new album. I think it's more insane. I want to say the new album's gonna be called. So
Yeah.
pay attention to Undeath. I recommend. Um,
Undeath, more insane.
Up next, we it's not technically a new song. I think it came out earlier this year, but that's the song "Resurrected" by Gates to Hell.
Hmm. Yeah, we actually talked about this one last week too. But yeah, it's a
Hmm.
badass one. It's a fun little jam.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein as Undeath. Not as ripping as Undeath's new song, kind of more of a beefier, straight to the point heaviness kind of thing, instead of the
Hmm.
viciousness and fastness of the new Undeath song. Um, yeah, it's a good song. I want to check out more Gates to Hell because of it. So, and
Oh
then
yeah. Oh,
what's that?
creeping out the cut. Are we there yet? No. Did I just
That's
skip
the
way
last.
ahead?
That's the last single. We have two
Okay.
more singles before that. Up next is "Rotting Wool" by Vomit Forth.
Oh
You check
yeah,
out
I
that
did
one.
listen to that one. Yes, I did.
What
All
did
the
you
singles
think?
were really good.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty sick.
yeah, it was surprising to hear clean vocals in a just a old kind of
Oh,
older school death metal band.
I do not remember the cleans then. I don't know if
It's just that
no.
"Rotting Wool."
Yeah, no, I don't think I need to listen to that one again. I'm sorry.
Very good.
I'm a failure. Um, gosh dang it. Now I can't find it. I remember playing it. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I need to listen to this one again. I guess I had the volume down or something too much.
It's good. I recommend it. There was one single that I listened to it. It wasn't bad, and then there's certain parts like, oh no, I need to be done with this. And that was the new song "Oscillator" by if this is the band, I think it is "Make Them Suffer." And I want to say,
Hmm.
is that the band that came out a long time ago with the opening song or the opening part was like, "I want to see you cry, bitch."
Uh,
Do you know
I don't
they
know.
became like a meme because of it?
I want to see you cry, bitch. I don't know. I don't really remember that. I
I
know
think that's
Make
this
Them
band.
Suffer. They have uh, I think Make Them Suffer is the chick keyboardist, right? Uber Gent singing.
Is that them? Because this what
Make Them
I don't
Suffer.
know. There
No,
is a
wait.
girl in it.
Yeah.
Maybe I am
Make Them.
confusing them with someone else.
Yeah, yeah, I think. Are you thinking of Left to
Oh, I
Suffer?
am. Yeah, this is the Never Bloom band. I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah, yeah. This is the gent. They had that one song. Not is it 22 or I don't know. Um, they got some good jams. It's definitely a different vibe. Not really death metal. I mean, deathcore-ish. They're kind of like they kind of got a gent deathcore thing going on with like keys and like the chick sings. She's got a good voice. It's I don't know, it's a good blend, I think, of music, but if that's, you know, kind of your cup of tea.
Yeah, it was once
But
those cleans came in, I had to stop because I felt like they were. Is that a girl singing?
yeah, it's a chick singing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he sings. I think the dude just does all the screams, but I have
I
not
gotcha.
listened to them in a while. So, I mean, the last Make Them Suffer I listened to was actually, I think it was like that debut album, Never Bloom.
Yeah, I've
No,
never
I've
actually
listened to one
listened to him
since
besides a
then.
little bit of that one.
Or 27 was that's the number one that I was thinking of. That was just a single though, but it's a super genty single. But anyways, yeah. This was yeah. I guess you're thinking of Left to Suffer. I'm not a big
I
Left to Suffer listener. I don't know. I haven't delved into them yet.
Actually, I looked it up. I'm confusing them with you ever heard of Defiler?
Oh yeah, I have heard of them.
Yeah, they're that one bit. That's the only song I know by them. They became like a meme. I never actually listened to Left to Suffer. Is it Let Them Suffer or Left to Suffer?
Left to Suffer is the deathcore band.
Okay, I don't think I've listened to them either.
Yeah, I haven't really delved into them.
Then, lastly, Peeling Flesh, Creeping
Fuck
Out
yeah.
the Cut, featuring Liturgy. So, is that the Liturgy that's like the black metal band?
I don't know on that one. I'm not familiar with either band. I don't know. I assume it's Slam because I heard a distinct change in the Slam vocal on this song. I don't know if you could tell the guest
Yeah,
feature, but I thought they sounded pretty distinct.
I got you. Yeah, I just typed in
So
Liturgy. Apparently, there's two different ones. There's the black metal one, then there's what looks like a slam one, just based off
yeah,
the album art.
I'm gonna assume it's Slam. And I gotta say, that clip, so me and Jeff watched this live clip of Peeling Flesh, and I personally was kind of disappointed in what
I
I heard.
was, yeah,
But with that being said, and I was not there live, so I'm sure it sounded different. Maybe what we heard was just a direct feed, but still, if that's the case, man, they got like these vocals on these tracks are like super beefed up, I feel like. I think they sound great. But like what I saw on that live video, I was like, that did not sound anything like it.
yeah,
So I don't know, man.
yeah. That video was very disappointing and disheartening if you're a Peeling Flesh fan. I still
Yeah.
saw like positive comments about how great he sounds, but
Well,
I
it
think
looked like the crowd was going fucking nuts too. I mean,
I don't know. It sounds like he's excited and pushing it too hard to where his voice is cracking when he does it. Like it
maybe.
sounds bad.
I mean, he's moving a lot too and shit. It looked like he was headbanging a lot and stuff. It's like I'm sure it can be taxing as fuck, but you know, man, yeah, it was definitely a rough sound. So, but with that being said, like I said, I haven't seen them live, so I hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping since they are a young band, maybe it's just going to take some experience of them getting more control over his
Yeah,
screams.
for sure.
But yeah, that's it
When's
for.
that album's dropping soon though? Like what, next week or
Mhm.
something? Is that right?
I think so. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've
But shit.
noticed a lot of bands have been doing the countdown like Nile has, but I don't think Killing
Oh,
Flesh is yet.
that's tight. Oh, but we didn't even talk about the single. So, anyways,
Oh yeah.
sidetracked from the shit talking on Peeling Flesh, but Creeping Out the Cut, new track they released. I think it's sick, man. They
Hmm.
kind of do I guess we still don't know if it's like the samples. This one definitely sounds more like a sample. I
Hmm.
think the Shoot to Kill sounds more like it could be like live rap, or if he is like switching from rap to slam vocals, but I don't know. Anyways, this one definitely sounds more like a sample than it does like a rap, but it's still like a catchy, like little creeping up the cut and I don't know what he's saying, but it's definitely like a bop type beat. And then like I like how they kind of break the song up with that like mid song and then they just slam like right back into it like that dude just sounds so damn beefy like I'm just like damn dude it's awesome it definitely gets me excited for that album.
Yeah. I just looked it up. It looks like it's coming out September 6th, so very soon. The G Code from Unique
Hell yeah.
Leader Records.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome,
that's.
man.
Oh, it finally came on.
Oh, hello, is that God?
Yeah, that's it for new releases. You ready to move on to the next more stuff? Or is there any other
Sure.
new releases you want to talk about?
No, not new releases, but a song came up randomly on my playlist and um I had to look on my phone to see what it was, and it turns out it was Escuela Grind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was very attention grabbing, but their track Always Watching You, it
Is
looks
that one of
like
their
this
newer
just came
ones?
out. Yeah, it just came out in 2024, but dude, her vocals on this were like, holy shit, man. She's doing some like super choppy stuff. It almost sounds like a new metal kind of patterning like she's doing. Like, so I liked it. I thought it was actually really cool. But so I'm definitely gonna have to check this band out some more. I'm excited to get into them. But uh no, as far as new releases, I think that's it from me, man.
I gotcha. It does look like they're coming out with a new album soon because they're doing the thing Niall's doing. It's 64 days away, so but it looks
Oh
like they're
well.
coming out with a new album, Dreams on Algorithms.
Ooh,
Oh,
cool.
there's a feature on here. Only one feature, and it's with the Acacia Strain.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, the song's
Oh,
called
dude.
Constant Passenger. Looks like it's third track featuring the Acacia Strain.
Oh, that's too sick. That gets me excited. Oh yeah. That's cool, man. I'm gonna have to delve into that band.
Yeah,
I'm
they
not
have some
seeing
cool stuff.
That's crazy. I'm not seeing the album countdown on my Spotify.
So are you on their releases?
Um, I guess I'll go. Do you have to click discography?
Yeah,
Oh
because that's
yeah,
how I.
okay, I see it now. Cool. Damn, that's a fucking gnarly cover, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that looks sick. That's crazy. Man, I'm excited for that. That's cool. Hell yeah.
Oh, somewhat metal news I was wanting to talk about. I feel like there's a few things. One thing comes to mind though. Did you see the interview Cabal did about their feelings on being on Summer Slaughter?
No, I did not.
They were kind of they weren't real necessarily shit talking, but they're kind of like bummed
Oh,
about how
this
things
most
are going.
recent tour?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I guess they were on the Garza podcast, and they were talking about how the tour is cool and all, but because of everything that happened, like obviously, people, it's a lot different tour than it has been in years. So a lot of people were disappointed. Uh,
Mm.
they said some shows have been pretty packed, then there's been others where it's like a 1,000 plus people venue, but there's only like 15 people there.
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
And then they also brought up the rant that Ash Al was saying, because I guess he's the one who put the whole tour together. And he's also the owner of Sumerian Records. Him doing his rant about like when people were calling out that the tour was boring. He said it's his complaint. He said something was like, even if we would have gotten Cannibal Corpse or Dying Fetus or Resurrected Necrophagus and Cynic, you would still be finding ways to bitch. You vaccine mandating, bootlicking
Oh my
pigs or something
gosh.
like that. And yeah, he went on that whole thing. Like,
Just compiling everyone he hates.
yeah, and they
Uh,
said, and they just kind of brought up like, yeah, that was probably not the best idea to just antagonize all your probably potential buyers of tickets. So
oh my gosh. Yeah, no shit. Wow.
yeah, there was that interview they did with Garza. That was a fun. It was fun seeing someone from the inside of the camp talk about it.
Yeah, I've kind of watched a couple episodes just so I can kind of see what it's like. It is interesting. Definitely cool. He asks a lot of cool questions too to, other
Hmm.
artists and shit. But yeah, it's an entertaining podcast for sure.
I did see there was one awkward one. He when he interviewed Sven from Aborted. Did you watch
Oh,
that one?
really? No.
Because there's some things like it sounded like Garza. Like I kind of get it. Like you try to interview someone, you might not know everything you're talking about, but you want to
Hmm.
show the confidence that you do. And Sven just kind of like, no, that's not right. And just
Well,
there's two instances I can immediately think of. Um, Chris Garza's like, you guys got a long discography. He's like, yeah, we do. Is like, and it seems like you guys have really found your niche. Like you guys' sound hasn't really changed that much this whole. And he's like, no, actually, we've changed a lot since our early days. There was that one. And then he was talking about the early days, and he's like, we're from Belgium, and there's a lot of issues in the scene with fighting off like the some of the Nazi bands." And he's like, "There's Nazi bands in black metal," and Sven's just like, "Yeah, it's actually pretty prevalent."
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Interesting. You think he was just trying to create like a controversial moment or something?
I don't know. Maybe it's like maybe it was trying to do like
Or
clip
maybe
farming.
yeah, or maybe like Sven didn't catch the sarcasm, or was it sarcasm, do you
No,
think?
it
Or
sounded like legitimate. Like, oh, it blows my
interest
mind that
like
there's actual black Nazi black metal scene in Europe. Yeah, how do you not know
yeah,
this? How do
right,
you know what
yeah.
black metal is, but you don't know about that?
Yeah, I know. That seems to be like common black metal history.
Yeah, especially in like I want to say, isn't Francis specifically kind of big on that? Like, there's a whole French sect of it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how prevalent it is anymore. I definitely haven't kept up. Like, my high school days was really whenever I was delving into black metal and all of its history, and then you kind of learn about that. And then I guess the last taste that we had of it was that show well, I think weren't we going to go to a show where Talk was supposed to be coming to the Riot Room?
We went to one.
Or,
That was
well, so
with
we went to a Talk show at Food Bar with
mhm.
Young and in the Way. But I think personally, I was more interested in Young and in the Way because that was such a fucking gnarly
Oh
album.
yeah,
Gnarly
and
sound, great show, I gotta say. It kicked ass. Turns out they were rapers or whatever, I don't know. But I don't know the details of it. But sadly, the band, I think, ended. Isn't that correct?
yeah, I want to say so. Those accusations came out, and I do like how they handled it. It seemed classy. They said, uh, "I want pay attention to the accuser. She probably did go through something, so give her your support." But I think it's a case of mistaken identity. So at least it was like, you know what? They're still denying it, but they're not trying to shit on the accuser. So I think that's a little respectful. But yeah, they ended up
Hmm.
closing up shop, and then they surprise released. Like, I don't know if they were working on it in the middle of it, of the accusation, so they just shelved it and then released it randomly. They have that somewhat newer album that came out, I think, during the pandemic. It didn't sound too
Oh,
bad.
okay.
It did sound like there was some parts was like patchy. Like the first
Hmm.
song ends, and then all of a sudden, like there was supposed to be a transition, but they never actually put it in the album. The next song starts with a boom, but like mid clip boom kind of thing. So
Hmm. Interesting. I haven't kept up with them since pretty much around that time. But anyways, like Talk, he was at that show too, or I think that's how you say his name, Tack or whatever, Taake. So, but he's been one of those dudes he went under fire. He was supposed to like tour again and come to the Riot Room, but I don't know if his visa got denied or something. I know that the Riot Room was like protesting to even have him there though at the time, or people
yeah,
started to protest that he was going to be there.
yeah, I know
It's a
he
big
has
shit
his
storm.
his own kind of past. I don't know if it's more for shock value or if it's genuine beliefs or anything
Yeah.
like that. But I also know he's now the singer of Gorgoroth, so I think that means if he's having issues getting here with Talk, that means Gorgoroth's not going to be able to come either.
Hmm. Interesting. I think they've pretty much always been overseas, though. I don't know if did they ever tour the US?
I would assume
I
so, but I'm
mean,
not really too sure because I've never seen them. I know you might be right because I know they've had
I've,
the famous concert in Krakow that they got in trouble
yeah.
for.
Oh man, dude, that's like, I can't find a live video of Gorgoroth that's not like kind of testing the waters for sure, crossing the lines of what you can do.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I don't know. Definitely interesting. Huh. I guess we kind of got
yeah,
sidetracked there.
yeah. Enough about Nazis. Let's talk about fatherhood stuff.
Hmm.
So I did have some questions today. I don't know if we'll get to all of them because I don't know if one will even flesh out into a full conversation or not. But so at what point it's because it's obviously it's not going to be growing is just it's not there's not set time when you're all of a sudden a full grown adult, no longer a young man kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's kind of a process. But at what point did you realize that you're no longer you're now a full grown like adult like you have I can't really be this crazy kid who wrestled his roommate in his front yard drunk or
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
like at what point do you realize like you know what I'm an adult. I got to do adult things. I got adult business to attend to, kind of stuff. What would you say was the shift from like young adolescence to like no shit, this is how I need to handle things, kind of thing? Would you say do you have a set moment, or do you have like a series of different events?
Yeah, it's kind of like a series, I guess you could say. Like I first moved out on my own when I was 17. And ever since then, I've pretty much been living on my own. And or, I couch surfed there for a while too. And but one thing is like, I always made sure that I held a job and I always wanted to have a, at least source of income to rely on. So I always like tried to take my job responsibility serious for that matter. And so like getting the job at the prison was a big step for me. So that was 21 because at that time you had to be 21 to apply. And so, I got that job. I was like, okay, I should take this serious. I need to hold this job. Definitely tested the waters at, in my, you know, uh, limitations there. But hey, held the job, made it work. So that was a great stepping stone for me. And, moment of maturity for sure. And then, got a new job and one I liked more. And then, or had the kid, I guess, or no, yeah, moved jobs, then had started having the kids. And, once you have like, I think first kid, it's like, that's a life-changing moment, I think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
as far as like responsibility goes, it's like where you like, I don't know. For me, it was just this is another human being that, this is what I created. This is my responsibility. It's up to me to make sure that this thing does not fail. It's going to look to me for all kinds of support. I got to make sure I'm there for it. And so it was like a switch, dude. And I feel like this permanent kind of just mature mentality kicks in. It's just like, can't really fuck this up now. Like you got a lot to to just be working on, from here on out, pretty much. Just to make sure
yeah,
she grows up, she's successful, and then I
yeah,
can kick back and party again. But
yeah.
what about you?
Um, I don't know if I have a set time because I when I moved out, it would be hard to tell pinpoint exactly because kind of like you, it's kind of like little stages. But even looking back, it's like man, I was still super immature. Like when I moved out, I thought, man, I'm an adult now doing big guy things. And then, but I remember looking back, it's like, man, I still was just an immature little shit. Uh, just trying to like spend whole paychecks like 2 days after I get it, and it's like, man, I'll figure it out. Have like
Hmm.
$10 in my bank account for the next 2 weeks until I get another paycheck somehow.
Yeah.
But I don't just dumb, irresponsible teen or early 20s stuff. Um, Thinking when I move away from my hometown, um, that was going to be it. Still a little immature, a little bit more grown up. Prison, same thing. Like I took it seriously, but as soon as I would go home, back to my immature self.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Even marriage, I
Yeah.
feel like marriage kind of made me a little bit more of an adult. But like you said, I do think once you have a child, especially I'd say about once Annie was about one, and realizing the full responsibility. Like yes, when they're an infant, there it's a lot of responsibility, but you always have to tell yourself like, oh, when they get older, it's going to be easier. Things will be hard now, they'll be easier. I think once they're one is when you kind of fully just kind of are at calm. Is like I might as well just enjoy everything while it is, and this is adulthood now, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, pretty much, you know. Uh, I think it's safe to say the sleepovers minimize, the parties minimize,
hmm
if, and it's also a matter of priority. I'm sure there's other parents out there doing it differently, but whatever. Um, it's yeah, man, it's just parenthood's life changing. I also thought of another moment though in life that, your first set of bills. Once you get those first set of bills in the mail with your
hmm
name on it, it's like, oh, damn, I'm an adult now, Yeah, I get to be on my own. Well, now you get to pay for it too. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
And I
like
remember,
taxes, man. I remember feeling so unprepared for taxes. Like the
mhm,
first round of tax season, I was like, what's this? I have to report my numbers? Like, what? I've never done this. Like, this is crazy.
yeah, I remember my first. So, like, I think I was like 19. I was living on my own, but my parents could still technically claim me, and because I still hadn't made a super amount, so my parents just claimed me, and they gave me the money that I had earned off it, and it ended up being like a lot of money. But 19,
Oh,
super immature, never had this
yeah.
much money. It's like just I went to Walmart and I blew about I want to say $600 on just nothing. Got a
That's
new
awesome.
guitar. Got I think I bought Game of Thrones first season on Blu-ray. Never saw the show before. Just bought. It. I was like, people are talking about it. I got the money. Band of Brothers on Blu-ray. I would
Could
just
you
spend it
imagine?
on nothing.
I know it makes me think about what I'd do with my first million. Like if you had a million that you were just, signed over, won the lotto or something. It's like,
Yeah,
what's the
now that I'm
first
adult,
million
I
gonna
do
be?
think about stuff like that. But I already think like no, there's some purchases I would make, but after that, stop because I know how I am. I'm gonna burn through
Yeah,
those
definitely
media
gotta
purchases and stop.
yeah, you definitely gotta make some lines. But I definitely would say I'd want to be splurgy for probably the first 2 weeks or something. I'd
I
probably
feel like it
definitely
could
be
get
getting
out of
lobster
control then.
dinners. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like I did the same thing after basic. I came home and just got super into tipsy bartender, so I started buying all the
Oh
different
yeah.
alcohols and try to make different drinks.
Man, we'd bring up that dude's drinks just like at every party.
hmm
Like, all right, let's
Remember
go
the
to
God of
Tipsy
War Inception
Bartender.
bomb?
Yeah, oh, that was the worst. That was
Yep.
so ridiculous.
So for those who don't know, what it was this you take this giant pitcher and you fill it with I want to say it was like blackberry liqueur and something else, and two like whiskey glasses. One of them is like
Triple Sec
um
was in there, I think.
yeah, I think it was triple sec mixed with Sprite in one, and then
Ugh.
I forget what was in the other. Maybe it was there was another drink. It had something else. I want to say maybe Jaeger and Red Bull, and then it had
Yeah.
two shots. One of them was Fireball,
hmm
or no, So the glass was was Red Bull. One of the shots was Jaeger. The other shot was Fireball.
Okay.
Took shot,
Oh my
took one of the shots. The other
gosh.
one fell down into the Red Bull. You drink that. Drink. Take that whole thing. The other cup falls down, mixes with everything. Oh, that's what it was. Bacardi 151 and blackberry liqueur in the bottom.
Oh, oh my gosh, man. Talk about getting annihilated. Didn't someone do it and like immediately puke? Immediately.
I do think someone has immediately puked, but everyone I've known who's done it has puked that night before they left the house.
Yeah. That thing was notorious for making people yak.
hmm
I think I did it once and I was like, I'm never fucking touching that thing again. Like, I'm never doing that shot anymore. And I would just watch people come over to the parties and I'm just sitting back with my drink. Oh, dude, you have no idea. And there was that one dude that like worked with us for a hot second, went to one of the parties and was trying to be the cool guy and chug like a whole bottle of blue curacao, wasn't it? An entire
Yeah,
bottle or something? Or was,
yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
oh, I was like, I was just like, dude, that's too much. You don't need to do that. It's like, come on, man. Don't do that to yourself. This is ridiculous. He's like, go, 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 go. I'm like, oh my gosh. You're not gonna be feeling fine, that's for damn sure. That shit's mostly sugar, probably. Probably a
Yeah,
little bit of alcohol, mostly sugar.
I do want to say blue
Oh.
curacao. I want to say it's only like 30% alcohol, but yeah, it's mostly just sugar and
Mm,
flavoring.
oh my gosh. Or was that, or wait, there's two individuals I'm getting mixed up that did that. Was that Southern or the new
No,
guy?
that was Collier that did that.
Okay. Okay. That's what I thought.
Souther did the other thing at the part that party.
Yeah. Yes, the other thing. It came out of nowhere.
Shocked us all.
Yeah, that was a great moment. It was a funny moment in history.
Oh,
uh, party classics, man.
oh
That
yeah.
house was legendary.
And look at us. We're both dads now.
Yep. Yeah,
After
look
all
how far
that.
we've come. Yeah. Or look how
Uh,
much we've come, really. Sorry, you can blurp that one out if you need to.
no, I'll leave that in. That might be. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I try to take at least one funny clip. Usually, it's things you say. I'll put at the end of everything. One out of
Hell yeah.
context clip.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right. So I feel like since the discography is so long, it's going to take a while. So do we want to go ahead and
Yeah.
start with album
Yeah,
rankings?
yeah, we might as well.
All right.
I gotta
So this
say, I did not do any Chris Barnes Cannibal Corpse. So
what?
again, yeah, you know what? I'll listen to a song right now.
There's one in particular you should listen to.
Hammer Smash Face.
Well, that one too. That's another classic, but it's on the.
Yeah, I mean, I know that one. So,
It's the song on the Bleeding.
okay.
It's called
Yeah, I gotta let
Stripped.
my annoying fucking cat out.
Yeah, it's a very good riff and just a great song.
Hell yeah. I will say that that is one thing about Cannibal that has not really changed is the riffage.
Hmm.
Even like the sound, the tone of it, they've just it's just kind of evolved more than anything. It definitely still sounds like Cannibal. I like that.
Have you gotten to the vocals yet on that song?
Yeah, this is the best Chris Barnes I've heard.
Yeah, this. Well, we'll get to that. This is an album that's high on my list.
These titles are ridiculous. She was asking for it.
All right. Are we ready?
Fucked with a knife. Yes.
All right. So, have you ever listened to Chris Barnes era ones?
I have
Didn't know
not.
if you want to weigh on the. Okay, I can weigh on it.
Nope.
Weigh in on these ones then.
All right,
So,
yeah. I failed on my homework. Just FYI for everyone out there.
so I remember we talked about so it's 30. You can give up to 30% of their discography. You can give tens to. So for that, I feel like that's too many tens for this one because that would mean you can do about five of these. Give them tens. So
Mm,
let's do. You can give about three tens. I personally only have two tens to give out of this discography.
okay. Same.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. So up first, we have the one that started it all. That is their debut album, "Eaten Back to Life." Um, so this is back when they were death metal was still pretty fresh. There wasn't a lot going on in the death metal world. Death was obviously around, but this was 1989. So it's still trying to get their footing, I think, try to figure out what death metal was. So this one is still very thrashy in its approach. Chris Barnes isn't as low as he will eventually get. So it's still kind of like thrashy death vibes. It's not a bad album. It's probably my least favorite from this Chris Barnes era. Some good tracks on it. Shredded Humans, Edible Autopsy, Skullful of Maggots. It's not bad. It's a good starting point, and it's good for the time it came out. For me, I'm going to give this a 3.5. What would you like to give it? I don't know how to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ballpark this for the history. I'm gonna kind of base my numbers off the songs that I see that are still like, popular with Cannibal. A Skull Full of Maggots, I feel like I still see a lot. Yeah, I don't, or I guess that's about it. I don't know. So,
It's going to be
sorry.
hard to gauge it with that because, from what I understand, they like to, since they have such a long discography and they know they have a lot of fans who are particular to certain albums, they try to do at least one song per album on their live sets. So I think that's
Oh,
why
okay,
that
I
one is
see.
still on there.
Oh, okay, interesting. Um, so are you talking Born in a Casket?
That one was okay, if I remember right.
Okay.
Is that one also on their live sets? Because I know Skullful of Magus is pretty much always played.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know. I just see Born in a Casket live on this album they put at the end of it.
Oh yeah, that's what. So I want to see their first 4 or 5 albums. Every one of them has an additional bonus track and Corpse Grinder singing on it. So it's like a re-release.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Just for shits and kicks, I'm going to give it a 5.
All right, so that's going to put it at an 8.5.
Just stay in the middle because I
Well, I
like the
got a lot.
sound. It still sounds cannibal. Oh my gosh, what a fucking list.
All right, up next is going to be Butchered at Birth. This is where they actually got a lot heavier. This is, I feel like, their lowest sounding album. Um, gnarliest cover imaginable, in my opinion, of all their albums.
Oh, yeah,
Um, it has
that's brutal.
some. It's a lot lower, like I said. However, I feel like Chris Barnes eventually does get lower with the album after this, so it is kind of like almost transition, but they did kind of overcompensate and make it a lot lower. It is, I feel like, a lot better than Eaten Back to Life. It has great songs like "Me Hooks Out of Me," Covered with Sores, um, and then a song that I'm pretty sure this is where the band's name came from, and it's featuring the Glenn Benton from Deicide, and that's the song "Vomit the Soul" is on this
Oh
album.
yeah,
Great
that's
song.
cool.
I'm gonna give this one a 6. It's I would say if we were to do Cannibal Corpse averages, this is slightly above Cannibal Corpse average. So I'm gonna give this a 6.
Oh yeah.
What would
I
you
love
give
the
this one?
uh I love the anime redub cover that I see of this album. Have you seen
Oh
that
yeah,
online?
I've thought about getting that and putting it framed somewhere because it looks so wholesome with
It
the
does.
flowers.
They're like doing arranging flowers or something. Yeah, I can't believe that this album didn't get them banned. I can't believe that this didn't
I
stir up
want I want to
the
say when it
wave of
came
trying to
out, they
ban
did
music.
have a promotion with it because I want to say since it was Butcher's birthday, it came in like a butcher wrapping cover that covered the art.
Hmm, interesting. That's pretty sweet. So they were already doing like themes back then.
Hmm.
That's tight. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.
All right, so this is gonna put this straight at 11. All right, then up next we have what is I think almost universally see some people see it as their best album, some people just see it as like classic, and that is their third album, Tomb of the Mutilated, coming out in 1991. This has a lot of good songs and staple songs, like the song that is their biggest song. It's so much so that it was in Ace Ventura, Hammer Smash Face.
Hell yeah.
Uh, it has "I Come Blood," which is the and that meme video where the guy where he says it, and the security guard is just like, "What the fuck?" It's a This is also technically a concept album, um, in which you can kind of figure it out based off of just looking at the song titles of what's going on. Um, it's a very gnarly album. I feel like this is where the Camel Corpse has actually figured out what they are and what they want to do. In my opinion, this is peak Chris Barnes era. So this is one of my tens. I'm gonna give Tomb of the Mutilated a 10.
Damn.
It's a good one. What about you?
Hell yeah.
Another
I
gnarly
will
album cover, by the way.
yes, it is. I definitely dig like the album covers from the get-go, man. Like Cannibal's never done wrong on the album covers. I think they're all pretty fucking badass. But Tomb of the Mutilated for historic purposes. Those two songs, the first two, I obviously know I've heard those, but another one that I have not delved. Sorry for all the Cannibal diehards, but I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Okay, so that's gonna put that at a 17. That's actually pretty high so far. All right. Yeah, it's classic. Even if I go to Spotify, I want to say it's probably their top one. Yeah, it's their top one on Spotify. Is this album? So yeah, it's a good one. And for both my tens, these are albums that I would recommend to new listeners to understand. If I want to get them into Cannibal, I would either get into this one or if there's another album down the road that we'll get to that I would recommend to new listeners if they want to figure out what Cannibal Corpse is all about.
Mm,
Up next is also a classic, and that is the last album from Chris Barnes, "The Bleeding." Came out in 1993. This is a lot. This is a turn for Cannibal Corpse. There's a lot cleaner production and even kind of almost catchy parts, like with the song "Stripped, Raped, and Strangled." Um, "Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead," which is also birthed another deathcore band's name. Um,
yeah, that is cool.
yeah, it's a great album. And I think this is another one that kind of got them even bigger. Obviously, Tomb of the Mutilated with their Ace Ventura appearance got them some attention, but this one I think kind of like cemented them as like a death metal legends. And with that, I'm going to give this a 8.5.
You see. I definitely like the sound of this one, man. I like the uh sounds like the production really cleaned up. Um it's just like not a lot of loose ends going on. But yeah, very catchy. Like just kind of super groovier than what they did before, it sounds like. But I don't know, tighter in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I'll give it a 7.5.
So that puts that at a 16. It's probably going to be up higher. All right. So at this stage of the band, Chris Barnes leaves, and in comes in. So the split seems to be somewhat mutual. Chris
Huh.
Barnes, I think, wanted to do something. He doesn't come out and say it, but from the documentary, it seems like he was already wanting to leave the band when they asked him. He was wanting to, based off how he seems, I think he didn't like the cleaner production of the bleeding, and he wanted to do
Oh,
like
really?
more of the raw, gross stuff because that seems to be his vibe. That's what he likes to do. And Cannibal
Huh.
Corpse, obviously, from their album after this, they had a vision of what they wanted to do, so they mutually parted ways, and they tapped. I think it's Monstrosity's lead singer, who at the time was Corpse Grinder, who is now
Hell yeah.
the face of Cannibal Corpse, and they came out with Vile. Did you listen to this one?
I listened to a little bit of this one. Um, Not bad. Definitely a switch up of the vocals. You can definitely hear the differences, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's mostly in Corpse Grinder's patterning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, it did not stick until much later. And so this is like in that era where I'm not really in tune with Cannibal, to be honest.
I
It
gotcha.
just seemed very panicky, paced, and it I don't know. didn't dig it as much. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I can agree. So I go back to this album from time to time just because it is kind of a history of when Corpse Grinder comes in. You can kind of tell the differences between Corpse Grinder and or Chris Barnes. And that Corpse Grinder seems more comfortable when he does his highs, to where Chris Barnes has a very particular, almost strained, and doesn't like to do it kind of highs. So I feel like that kind of gives him more versatility, but Corpse Grinder doesn't seem to be able to get as low as Chris Barnes. Um, but this album, it's okay, and you'll see that. So we were talking. There's it feels like there's a period where I can't get it. We can't get into them. And for me, that period starts now with this album.
Hmm.
This album I can kind of get into. There's gonna be a couple albums where after this where it's like I can't get into it, and I don't know why. And looking it up, I think I do have a theory. I don't know how much of it is what's going on, but I think it's because of what's going on with the guitars. Because during that's the only connection I'm seeing is that between this album and the last album I didn't care about, it was a guitar duo of Jack Owen and Pat O'Brien, and beforehand it was Jack Owen and Rob Barrett. Rob Barrett comes back later. And I think something about those two together, it just doesn't mesh as well. Like you said, it has a panicky feel. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel like what Cannibal Corpse eventually became, like a tighter, catchier, and more fun. It feels like a mess. And
Yeah.
I feel like the couple albums after this all kind of have this vibe. This one I will give probably I'll give it a 5. It's about an average for me in their discography. I think it's better than some of the albums that came after it, but I do think it's still a little raw and not as fun. What
Yeah.
did you give it ranking yet?
No, I didn't. I would agree though. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay, so that's going to tie it with Butchered at Birth. All right, up next is Gallery of Suicide. Um, again, I'm not super into this one. Um, it has some tracks on it that are well, it has one track that's still on their set list today, but I think that's just because like I said earlier, they know they have fans who have been with them. They might have certain fans that are fans of specific albums, so they try to play all of them. And they still to this day play "I Will Kill You." Other than that, yeah, just very straight to the point. I don't. But that's the thing about this album. I don't feel like it really has much
Uh,
personality. It's just a bunch of songs, and
these guys
it
crack
feels like
me
a
up.
mess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one a 4. What
I
about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 as well, but I couldn't help think of the meme that it's like I don't even remember what the meme is, but it's just like something about murderers like hiding in plain sight and then or no, or maybe this is like my thought. Like my theory is like Cannibal Corpse are just a bunch of murderers like hiding in plain sight like and they're just chose to be the entertainer path, but behind the stage they like capture a guy and just like fucking kill him or something like
I think
it's
I
so
know what meme you're
ridiculous,
talking about. Because
but
when they
yeah.
arrested Pat O'Brien, they found all those like skulls and guns. And like, we never
Yeah.
saw this coming. And it shows like a bunch of some are not
Or
real, but
yeah.
some of them were real. Like, "I Will Kill You" was the name of the song.
Yeah.
House Full of Skulls.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's hilarious, but yeah. Anyways, sorry, little funny there. I just couldn't help it but laugh. I will kill you. It's just crazy the titles of these the tracks that get big, like I Come Blood is like a huge track, and it's like what? Uh sorry. So great though, man. That's why they're gold. That's why they're still here. you know. And it's funny, there's like apparently this new fad of like Gen Z are taking on Cannibal. Did you see this? That's some
I saw
news
it,
we
but I
should
don't know how
mention,
much of
but
it is real or if it's just writers trying to find a story to talk about.
yeah.
Because it looked like it was just in a chat room or a blog somewhere, and someone's like,
Well, yeah, like I read the headline and then like I felt like I clicked on it and it was just someone talking about what was said, but they never put what was said. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It just sounded like bullshit from what I read, but I don't know.
Yeah, you probably read the same article where they were talking. It was I think some blog where they were talking about like the topic was I separate the art from the artist, but this is the art, and then they're talking originally they were talking about mindless self indulgence, where it was a song. It sounded like they were talking about underage sex, and it was like, or no, the singer got in trouble for messing around with a minor. And I'm like, well, you guys separate the art from the artist, but this is their art, and they have a song about that exact thing. And so someone posted was like, "Oh, you guys will flip your shit if you saw this," and they posted a Cannibal Corpse
Wow.
song, the song "Necro Pedophile." And I guess someone freaked out. I was like, "I don't give a shit if I saw them, I would execute them on their knees," kind of things. Like, it's it's not the same. It's not the same. They don't actually do that. Also, that was a different singer. That was Chris Barnes. He's in a different band.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, go shit on that guy.
And also, I've
Yeah,
noticed they don't because like with Chris Barnes, he kind of had like sexual violence in the music. But ever since he left, it doesn't seem like they ever talk about that anymore. It's more just like
it
actual like
doesn't.
zombies and violence.
Yeah, not a lot of misogyny, I don't think,
Hmm.
with Corpse Grinder. It's more of just the I will kill you. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. But I don't know. I love Cannibal Man. And if that is true, I don't think they understand who they are taking on. And that's what it seems like the synopsis is of like the people on the Facebook or anyways, that are gathering around the subject, but they're just like, fuck them, corpse grinder forever. It's just like that dude literally sits on a throne. Like he's the like one of the fucking biggest in metal. So, you if you try to take that's like the biggest band in death metal history, I'd say by far. So, good luck
Yeah,
if that's what your goal is.
yeah. And I want to say there's even people just trying to explain like it's death metal. That's what happens. You're not supposed to
Yeah.
take it seriously. They don't actually promote people to go do this kind of stuff.
Well, and that's what happens when you delve into the internet comments too. You get a bunch
Yeah.
of stupid motherfuckers saying dumb shit. But anyways, yeah. I gotta say, real quick, Vile, I might have to give a rescore.
Okay.
No offense to Cannibal with Corpse Grinder, but I think I'm gonna change mine to a 4. I kind of want to put it below those Chris Barnes album. I just don't think it's as good.
Okay. I don't even remember what your score was because I
It
think I
was a
said it was
6.
average.
Yeah,
Okay.
you gave it
So
a
that would
5. I
put
gave
it
it a 6. I think I gave it
that
too
would put it
much.
actually at a 9. So right above Eaten Back to Life, which I feel like
Okay.
yes, I feel like no matter what the production's better.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. But yeah.
All right. Up next we have another album that's in my opinion just okay. Yeah, up next is another album I'm very meh about, and that's 1998's Bloodthirst. Um I feel I'm gonna give this a 4. I'm just gonna go right off the bat. I'm gonna give this one a 4. Pounded in the Dust is the only one that's still is in the set list for obligatory reasons. I feel like it's a great album cover. I feel like it's the only time they actually went sci-fi. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Kind of
I
weird.
don't feel like it has much redeeming qualities. Sorry if there's people who love this album, but for me, it's below average for me when it comes to Cannibal Corpse of what I expect from them.
Sounds gnarly. Coffin Feeder, is that another band name
I would not be
origination?
surprised. I feel like this band has started so many band names.
Hmm. And for those that don't know, that's Sven from Aborted Side Project. I think newly announced side project too. They have like an album released in the last year or two. But um, so I didn't give this one a fair chance, but I am liking the riffage that I'm sampling right now, I gotta say.
I gotcha.
But for me, I think there's a common connection of the Cannibal Corpse that I don't really jive with and why. And it's kind of a mix of his patterning, Corpse Grinder's patterning, and um in the drumming. it's aside from that, like I feel like the riffage is just, dude, it's huge. It's always been huge. It's always been just nasty sounding. I really love the tone, but it's like the drummer just he just gets so chaotic and like panic mode. He just like he'll like hit a good groove for 4 seconds and then he just and I'm just it's just like, dude, calm down, calm down. Like what you were doing was cool. And it's just like, okay. And it's just like, dude, what's I don't know. It's hard to tell what's going on, sometimes. But so anyways, I don't know. Yeah, didn't check this one out, but that's the gist that I just got from sampling two songs. So sorry for any Bloodthirst Cannibal Corpse fans, diehards out there, but I'm gonna give this one a 4.
All right, so this is also tied in last place with 8. All right, up next is Gore Obsessed. Again, so for me, this is the last one that I will talk about as me not caring. The next one is kind of the same era, but I have a little bit better feelings about this one. I feel like this is their most boring all around album, both in songs itself, and I feel like this is also like the most boring album cover they have, and they have one that's just letters. I like the cover is a bunch of zombies, what looks like coming out of sand, and then other zombie hands holding down a person while they rip the chest out. Which, yeah, it sounds super violent, but like everything, it's the colors of it, and I don't really understand why this is happening.
Like the pixelation's pretty terrible, it looks like. Or it just didn't upload to Spotify that well, but as far as like the detail on the other album covers, yeah, it definitely doesn't look as good.
Yeah, and I want to say like Pit of Zombies is still in the set list, and I want to say when the one time I saw them, there was someone in the crowd chanting over and over again for them to play that song, and I don't get it.
Really? Huh.
I feel like this is their most boring album. So for that, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay. I'll give it a 4.
So that gets us at a 7.5. All right. Up next, we have The Wretched Spawn. So this is still the same like era. However, I feel like this is when things like they kind of feel like, oh, we can actually like write songs that are catchy and like I don't know, something about this album is more interesting to me. Has
Hmm.
songs, good songs in my opinion, such as "Severed Head Stoning," "Decency Deviled," or "Defied." What was another one? I want to say there's one other one, maybe "Frantic Disembowelment." It still has the same members as all these other albums that they did in that time, but for some reason this one's a little bit more interesting. Still not what is about to come, but I'm gonna give this a solid. Let's get a 6.8 for The Wretched Spawn.
Yeah, I checked this one out just a little bit, but I really like how I feel like they cleaned it up a lot.
Hmm.
It's particularly Corpse Grinder. I don't know, he just got super tight with the patterns. I still don't love them. Like you said, it's kind of still in that era, that phase that's kind of skippable, but it's definitely on the up and it just sounds super tight. But yeah, it's I think enjoyable. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay, so we are at a 13.3. All right. Now for me, I don't know about you, but this is where things get exciting. Uh,
Yes, for sure.
this is when I started listening to the band, and that is, I want to say, what year was this? 2006.
Golden
Kill.
Era Metal.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is so Corpse. If you're not familiar with Cannibal Corpse, but you've gotten this far in this podcast, you've noticed a trend. They like to do super violent uh, album art. This one, they decided to switch things up. They didn't want people to buy it just for the album art. They wanted
Yeah.
people to buy it because of them and the music on it. So it's literally just their logo, and in big letters, "Kill" on a red and black album. I still think it's better than the Gore Obsessed album cover. It's
It is.
it's
Yeah, I gotta
simple
say.
and it gets you. And also, they bring back my favorite, Rob Barrett, back on. I think he's playing rhythm guitar at the time. I don't know, maybe might be lead. Either way, he's a great guitar player. If you haven't seen interviews with him, he's kind of has like a southern drawl, redneck kind of talk, and even like a vibe when he presents himself. Always wearing like a old school metal shirts, a bandana.
Hmm,
Always when he's talking, it always looks like he has a dip in. Like, but
that's awesome.
he lays down some heavy stuff, and he's back
Hell
on this
yeah.
album. Great
That's
songs
awesome.
such as nothing like as groovy as what came in the album next, but still great songs like "Make Them Suffer," Five Nails Through the Neck, uh, "Purification by Fire," and then
Damn.
the opening track, "The Time to Kill Is Now." I love this album. This is the album that I got into him with. I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Yeah, dude, this album I remember hearing a ton of buzz about it when it came out. Love the sound. I think the patterning is getting way better, or at least, to more I don't want to make it sound like anyways, it's just I really dug it on this one a lot more than the older ones. Make Them Suffer, another band name. Uh yeah, they're gent. Yeah, they have chicks playing keyboards and singing, but hey, I bet they listened to Cannibal and were like, dude, let's do a Cannibal Corpse band. They're like, all right, sure. But no, badass album to get into Cannibal Corpse, I think. Dude, I Five Nails Through the Neck. It's just like, what a badass title. Like, how did you think of that, dude? That's so cool. I mean, it's so gnarly. It's like, damn. It's just one that rolls off the tongue, I think. You know,
And it's one of those
something
ones
about
that
it.
surprisingly it's catchy when because he'll just it's in the chorus. Just something about it is just because when I first read it, I thought, oh, that's kind of clunky. But then when I hear him sing, I was like, oh, it's actually pretty catchy. I love it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Okay, so we're at 14.5 with Kill. All right. Up next is 2009's Evisceration Plague.
Oh yeah.
Anything you want to say about this one?
I really like this one. This was when I did not get on the Cannibal train really like solidly until this album came around. And this was kind of like my graduation year actually. But so I just remember not really understanding all the buzz about them at the time then, but then I saw the video for Evisceration Plague and it's nothing special. Like they just have like a creepy guy like dressed up in makeup, zombified or whatever. But then it's just Cannibal. And I just remember seeing him. He's just like standing in a room. And it's like his hair is just fucking over his face. And it's just like, I don't know, something about it. It's like a super slow song, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird. I feel like you wouldn't have expected that to happen with Cannibal Corpse. But that song, Evisceration Plague, dude, it is so damn catchy. And like, I hope that, when I do see Cannibal live, I hope they play it. I don't know if it's one that's prominent in their rotation, but I fucking love that song still.
What would you give this album?
I would give this one an 8.
Okay. So this is probably my other favorite. It's I wouldn't have said it until we just did this because listening to it again is like, oh yeah, it's this is one of the few ones that I can enjoy listening to all the way through. It has a lot of great songs on it. It has starts off with Priest of Sodom, Scalding Hail, has great songs like Cauldron of Hate, Evidence in the Furnace, and then obviously Evisceration Plague. It's the groovy the grooviest song at this point besides Stripped, Ripped, and Strangled. But even then, I feel like this is even groovier. I feel like they
Wow.
finally realized that they don't have to go full force. They don't have to go super slow. They can just
Yeah.
find their great songwriting. Right, just comes at that middle pace, and then also Shatter the Bones. For me, this is my other 10. This is something if
Ooh,
someone was wanting to get into
damn.
Cannibal Corpse, this is another album I would give them, depending on what I think they would be into. This is more for I would give this one out more often than I would give To the Mutilated, just because I feel like this is more accessible.
Wow.
But yeah, I would give this one a 10.
Hell
What was your
yeah.
what was yours again? I can't remember. I have to do this.
Mine was an 8.
Okay, so we're at 18.
Yeah. This is a very good album, man. I love that Priest of Sodom too. That Priest, how it comes out is just like so it's just like, oh man, it's so low. Like it's
And
badass.
they're still on the cat. It's not as much as the previous album, but I feel like they're still on the like let's not have a super violent cover. A little creepy, but nothing super
Yeah.
violent. Just kind of like zombies and like a you can kind of see in the dark. It's not really
Yeah.
back to their normal album covers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like they had like a calm down wave. They were just like, all right, come on, guys. We're getting kind of ridiculous with this stuff, aren't we? Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Let's just do basic zombies coming out of the dark. Come on. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and it feels like with their next album, which is going to be 2012's Torture, they kind of eased into it because they kind of tricked everyone. They it seemed like they're kind of doing the same thing. However, because I bought the album on CD, because when they were promoting it and when you look at it in the store, this looks like just some dude with a metal mask, some scars on his chest, and there's
Yeah.
like a circle around him and some red stuff. You think, okay, and that maybe I'm Torture. All right, cool, whatever. But you buy it, you take it home, you realize that the black circle around him is a sleeve, pull up the sleeve, and then up comes all of
Ah,
these, all
that's
his
awesome.
victims, and it's like, oh, they're back to that stuff.
Back
So
to the
yeah,
gore.
oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hang on.
This is yeah 2012's Torture. It's another great album. Starts off with Demented Aggression, Scourge of Iron, kind of almost
Oh, that's a good song.
groovy as Evisceration Plague, but just not as much. I feel like they still do play this one. It's a great song. Other ones are As Deep as the Knife Will Go, Followed Home Then Killed. Pretty good album. I'm gonna give this one an 8.5.
Hell yeah. The Strangulation Chair. That's another
Oh
good one.
yeah.
But yeah. Score. Score. That's
Well,
it's a pretty good album. I don't know that I was as into it as like Evisceration Plague.
mhm.
I felt like kind of I was like, I don't know, man. So I didn't really get into it too much. I think I'd probably give this one a 7.4.
Okay. So that means we are at a 15.9.
Talk about albums, man. These guys
Oh
never
yeah.
stopped.
All right. Up next is what year was this? 2015? No, 2014's A Skeletal Domain.
Yeah.
Very intricate album art, but I don't feel like it's super violent unless there's like details that I'm not seeing.
Very weird. Different for Cannibal. This is almost more
Yes.
like Halloween-esque, it looks like.
Hmm.
It's like kind of, I don't know. You got the orange and the
I'm
black in there.
yeah, it's
Definitely
a
interesting.
I think this is actually kind of a very cool album cover. I wish they had more merch with this kind of stuff on it. But I'm torn on this
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
I was not a fan when it came out.
Killer Become is good.
Yeah,
I'd say it's a really good one on here.
uh,
But I'm not in love with this album.
I feel like this is where they've almost kind of embodied and become Metalocalypse at this point, where this they're no longer a band; they're an institution kind of thing. Like even like the song, the opener, "High Velocity Impact Splatter" or "Spatter." It
Hmm.
100% reminds me of Metalocalypse, especially that episode where they're playing at the prison and they have all the
Yeah.
inmates. They're on death row. It's like, well, they want to die being part of your concert. Like that's exactly what it reminds me of. Um,
Yeah. Full-fledged
Production's still great.
ridiculousness.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that's what this album is. The production is great, and I feel like that's the saving grace. There is some good songs. I feel like at this point it's a little. I feel like it's always going back to that what was going on in the early 2000s, late 90s, where it was like kind of like playing it safe, not really doing anything new or cool. It's just like
Mhm.
just another Cannibal Corpse album. It still is better than those albums. So for that, I'm going to give it just a solid 7.
Yeah, I do. I will say, I think his lows sound absolutely just gnarly on this one. I think he really toned in on or dialed in on his vocal tones with this record. I really like the production too. It sounds super crisp, really good. My favorite song, "Killer Become," on this one. I would give it a I would give it a 7 too.
All right. So we're at a solid 14. Move this up here. All right. All right. Up next is a big one. 2017's Red Before
Oh,
Black. This is
hell, absolutely yes.
so I kind of fell off a little bit. I stopped caring about them. I thought, this band's gonna be boring now. They're just gonna keep doing the same thing. Kind of like almost like Cannibal Corpse at this point has just become Slayer. What Slayer is thrash metal, Cannibal Corpse is the death metal. Like they're very consistent, but it's almost like the consistency is almost annoying because like, well, it's just the same album again, kind of thing. But this one, I felt like immediately broke that chain.
Oh,
It's
dude,
is a
yeah.
great album. Um,
Absolutely a great album. This is yeah, dude, I'm going to give this one a 10. This is
okay.
one of my Cannibal Corpse recommendations. I think that if you want to pick up this band, especially modern Cannibal era, like
Hmm.
this is one to get into because the catchiness, dude, this album gets me front to back. I can jam this one nonstop and love every bit of it. Only One Will Die. Obviously, the title track "Red Before Black" is one of the biggest Cannibal songs in my opinion. Like, I gotta hear that live if I'm going to see Cannibal, you know. But
Hmm.
it's so good, man. It is so good all around. So many good songs on here. Um, and the cover is absolutely one of my favorites because it's kind of got that aborted retrogore aspect
Hmm.
where it looks like you're sitting in the victim's position and the killer's just whipping out this machete or whatever the hell it is, just a trail of blood. It's like, oh, dude, it's so brutal. I love this album so much. What did you think about it?
I do love this album, especially even just looking at the first 4 songs. I feel like the first 4 songs, like those are songs you don't skip. Only One Will
Yeah.
Die is great. Red Before Black, Code of the Slashers, which is I heard it on like
Oh
Octane,
yeah.
I think. It's like, oh, they're actually doing something cool and new. Like very slow, even more slower than Evisceration Plague, but it's that
Yeah.
grooviness gets you like, okay, they're doing something new and cool. Shedding My Human Skin, great. Head Shoveled Off. This is a great album, and kind of what you're talking about with the cover. Looking at like I remember even thinking like I not looking back, it feels like we're almost they've desensitized us to where it's like, man, it's a great album cover, but it's not like super violent like we're used to. But then you think, well, if you put that on a shirt, you're still gonna get super weird looks because it is violent, but it's not the violence we're used to
Yeah.
from their album cover. So it's almost like they've desensitized us so much from previous stuff. I'm
Oh,
gonna
for sure.
give this a 9. I do really like this album. It brought me back into him when I thought I was going to stop caring about this band with Skeletal Domain. This brought me back and made me want
Yeah.
to check out more Skeletal Domain because of it. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 9. That's going to put this at I think number one with a 19.
Yeah. And I gotta say, this was an album. I wasn't on the Cannibal wave at this time, and I was kind of gonna skip this. Like I saw it came out, I was like, oh cool. But you actually were like, dude, did you listen to Cannibal Corpse's new album? I was like, no, you're like, it's pretty damn good. I was like, really? Is it though? Like, I would think it's probably just Cannibal Corpse again. You're like, no, dude, you gotta check it out. And I checked it out. I was like, holy shit, yeah, you're right, dude. It's a huge Cannibal Corpse album. And so, um, even like the song Firestorm Vengeance, it's like I kind of hate that title, but like I love that song. And like Cannibal will like do that. It's like, but Code of the Slashers, like you were saying, it's even slower than Evisceration Plague. And so it's so crazy to hear a band that just started as a balls through the wall and but then just slowly progressed these slow chuggy riffs and incorporated a slow kind of down paced rhythm into their music. But they did it so well. I feel like at band practice, I wonder if there was hesitation to just skip those songs, because it wasn't like what they were doing traditionally. But I don't know, maybe not. That's just total speculation, but they do both so good, man, and they've made both a prominent Cannibal sound now, I think. So yeah, absolutely. I think that album deserves definitely some attention.
Agreed. Very, very good. And so far, this is set number one. Uh, do you remember what you gave Evisceration Plague? Because apparently I did not label. I
Oh,
remember mine.
um, I think I want to say I gave that an 8 at least.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sitting at number one pretty comfortably. Um, let's see what these other ones, what scores we give this one. But yeah, this is, I feel like, a very good, redeeming album to bring.
Hell yeah,
It brought me back because I was going to stop caring about him. But yeah, Ripper. Um,
absolutely.
so around this time, what we were talking about earlier, Pat O'Brien is removed from the band and goes to jail for a little bit. So
Due
what
to a
they
lot of
do,
guns.
yes. So what they do is, I forgot to mention it. So the Kill album, that is also when they started using Eric Rutan's recording studio and having him help produce the albums.
Oh
So
shit.
when Pat O'Brien got arrested and removed from the band, they hire longtime collaborator and producer Eric Rutan from Hate Eternal and Morbid Angel, a little bit fame, to join them
Hell
on
yeah.
their next album, Violence Unimagined. And boy, was that a great addition.
Hell yeah, dude. Like they came out the woodwork swinging with him, dude. And I don't know. I brought it up to Sean and Josh. I thought that Eric Rutan participated in the songwriting, but they were like, no, no, no. He just did the tour with him. He's just a leg on
Uh,
the tour. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like point out the Rutan riffs in this album. And, but with that being said, I think that this album just smashes. And it was like, once you hear Rutan in there, it's like, dude, he's needed to be in the band forever. Like,
mm-hmm,
they are such a great duo or,
mm-hmm.
pair, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I feel like it's Rob Barrett. Because Rob Barrett, I feel like has always kind of been the good one. Because I feel like every album Rob Barrett has been on has been great. Because I want to say he was on the Bleeding album. He might have been on Vile. I actually no, I think he was just on the Bleeding. King Back for Kill. And obviously, those are the prime Cannibal Corpse things. And as soon as Eric Rutan comes in, I feel like they work together so well and create great riffs. And I remember you had talked about people were saying Eric Rutan didn't write any of the songs, but I looked it up today. He actually wrote, I want to say, four on this album,
That's what I
because of what
thought.
I was seeing on Wikipedia.
Um, Condemn or Condemnation Contagion or something like that, right?
Yeah,
That was
and
one of them.
Over Torture. Here we go. So he wrote, yeah, Condemnation, Contagion, Ritual Annihilation, and Over Torture. So he wrote three songs.
Hell yeah. Over
And
Torture's a fucking ripper, dude. Oh my gosh.
and he might not have written this one song, but there's obviously either some influence or Barrett was really liking what he was doing and added it to his song. But Inhumane Harvest, that
Oh my
breakdown,
gosh.
that is very much a Rutan riff if you've ever heard one.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then like with the little like hammer on or whatever. Oh dude, this album. This is going to be my second 10 because this was huge for me. This is another one front to back. I can love every single bit of it, and it's that even newer era of Cannibal that I think is going to just get even bigger with more albums to come. Um, hopefully, and but dude, yeah, it's I think close to fucking all the songs on this are flawless, and it holds my attention throughout.
I did notice because I was listening to this today. I think it's the song "Surround, Kill, Devour." Um, Listening to it, it sounds like I was listening to it, I was like, man, this sounds a lot like a Napalm Death, like not a specific Napalm Death song, but it sounds like a Napalm Death song almost. To where
Huh.
like if Corpse Grinder wasn't on this and Greenway was on this, I feel like this would be even better. Do you remember that song? Surround, Kill, Devour. Like it's still a great song. I feel like I know they don't do features that often, but I feel like a Cannibal Corpse with Napalm Death would be a great
Dude,
feature.
that would be a great feature. I can't believe that hasn't been done, to be honest.
Yeah,
But they're not really 1-4 features as far as vocals go.
yeah. I've only known of one, and that was on, and I've just found out recently on the or what album was that? We talked about earlier, the Vomit the Soul
Or yeah.
with
Oh
Glenn
yeah, you
Dutton.
said that was yeah, I see. I never knew about that one. That's awesome though.
Yeah, it's a great album.
I could totally hear that dude's vocals on Surround Kill Devour. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. For me,
It's
I'm
even
gonna
kind of
give
like a
this.
napalmish song.
Yeah, it almost feels like because like the whole song is nonstop and it has just something about the guitars and the drums has a kind of a little bit of a grindy feel that with the Napalm
Hmm.
song, Death song. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a 9. Um, it's close to peak for me. However, I still, in my opinion, Evisceration Plague or uh, Bleeding are. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's pretty close to it. So I'm gonna give it a 9. So that would put this at a 19. What was okay? Okay. So that's gonna be tied with Red Before Black. And then lastly, their newest album, Chaos Horrific.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
I wasn't originally into this, but the more I've listened to it, like I was listening to today and yesterday, the more I listen to it, the more I do like it. There are some pretty good songs on here, like Bloodblind, Frenzied Feeding, Overlords of Violence. I'm catching on to it more. It's a grower, not a shower at first for me.
Yeah.
What's your opinions on this album?
I really liked it, man. I was definitely the hype slightly was over what was delivered, and that's all right. I mean, I know it's not going to be always flawless for any band, but it was still good. It's still great. I love the sound still, production wise and everything. Summon for Sacrifice. I just love the sample bit in there where it just sounds like they're dragging a dude in chains, and like this just like I remember talking to the Dejector guys about this, like, and that was like taking off my theory of them just being serial killers and like literally recording the sample of a guy that they killed to use it in their album. I know it's far fetched, but it's just like you hear that sample and you're just like, get the fuck off me, fuck you motherfucker, you're crazy. And then it just kicks into the middle. I'm just like, oh my God. It's so cool. But I don't know. Yeah, they're just wild, man. I don't know. It's a lot of good songs though. I liked Overlords of Violence, Friends of Being's good. First three really. I noticed a lot of like the double kind of lettering, frenzied feeding, summoned for
Hmm.
sacrifice. I thought that was like getting a
Bloodblind,
little
little
cliche-ish. I don't know what you
alliteration.
call that. Yeah, but I don't know whatever. Or yeah, even Blood Blind. Like they're literally songs in a row. But no, still a good album, man. But as peak for me, so but super strong one. I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
I
I
got
love
you.
the album cover too.
Yeah, the album cover is great, and that's something I was looking at because I've been looking at a lot of their merch recently because I don't have a Cannibal Corpse shirt. because it is one of those things like you gotta be a little choosy when it comes to it because you gotta figure out where you can wear it, especially since I'm now in a small town. I don't want to be the one guy with the multiple dead bodies on his shirt.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and you brought up a good point, and I think that might be my main issue was it had a lot of hype building up to it, and it didn't really deliver up on that hype. So, but I am getting more into it the more I listen to it. I'm going to give this just a solid 8. So that's going to put it as 16.5.
Nice.
So that's going to be right. Oh, I need to add a thing. Yeah. All right. All right. Now I need to delete some rows.
The cover's interesting too. You actually have like three or no, it looks like four um, people just fighting off a horde of
Yeah.
zombies in brutal ways. It's pretty sweet. Definitely a change up of their pre.
Yeah. I am kind of getting tired of the zombies though. But that's just me. I wish they
Yeah.
would kind of go to other topics because it's not like zombies is the only thing they can talk about. They talk about murderers and stuff like that. But I feel like they're very honing in on zombies, but it's still pretty good. Yeah, this is our ranking. It looks like we have number one is tied, and that is Red Before Black and Violence Unimagined.
Ooh.
Um, but I'm good with my rankings, and I'm gonna assume you probably are too with yours. So I think
Yeah.
that's probably just going to be a stalemate because this was your perfect tens. Um,
Yeah.
I gave them both nines. So yeah, number one's going to be tied. Red Before Black and Violence Unimagined. Number two is going to be Evisceration Plague, and three is going to be Tomb of the Mutilated. So we have they are getting
It's
best.
pretty
Their best
split
period
up
is
years there.
recent. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the one Chris Barnes, which is this. That's the holy grail of their old stuff. Um, yeah, it seems like you can obviously tell the new stuff is what is the catchiest, and they're getting better. I would say
Yeah, for sure.
this and late 2000s and the 2010s is the prime Cannibal. Unless you're one of those old school heads who wants the raw stuff, then yeah, go to the Chris Barnes era.
Right.
Yeah, Gore Obsessed is the bottom, and then Bloodthirst and Gallery of Suicide are at the bottom, second to last. So yeah, are you good with this? Is there anything you want to change?
No, man, I'm good with that. Pretty
All
long
right.
ass list of albums there.
Yeah, I would prefer. I probably won't recommend someone with 16 albums again. Try to stick with 10 or less next time.
They're an old
So yeah.
band, man. They've been swinging since they've never stopped. And it's like they don't even have an album that's like a 5 year gap or more. It's not like they
Hmm.
do anything crazy like that. Like Job for Cowboys was what was it? Literally like a decade for
Yeah,
Prince
I
to
think
get
it
like Van
was.
Halen.
I want to
Yeah.
say it was almost exact. It was exactly a decade. I'm pretty sure because it came
Yeah.
out when we were at the governor's mansion. So that was like
Yeah,
14 or
Centimeter.
15.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Cannibal's never done that. They haven't taken like a 10-year gap. It's always like, seems like 2 to 3 years. There's some albums that are year after year. And I always, I go into those albums with mindsets like, oh boy, bet this will be fucking not great. But I don't know. Yeah. Um, Old band, man, but still fucking clearly kicking ass and maybe just now hitting their peak. So
I do
definitely
feel like
excited to see what's
though,
coming.
with this many albums and their rule of thumb of playing at least one song for each album, they're kind of creating issues when it comes to their set list because that's already 16 songs. And I don't know how
Oh
long your
man.
set list you're allowed. So I feel like
Yeah,
they
dude,
need
it's
to maybe cut some of the fat of some of these like mid careers albums. I feel like it's probably gonna piss some people off, but give some more
yeah.
songs that you
I
never
mean,
play.
there's also the diversity of the tour too. They with that they can also really fucking change up their sets like
Hmm.
drastically if they wanted. I mean, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. See, like Acacia Strain, I think they can do that so much better because they have like albums. They're just like, yo, we're playing this front to back of this tour. It's like, oh
Hmm.
shit. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we'll go check that out. So Cannibal, they're not gonna be able to be like, we're doing Vile front to back next year world tour. It's just like, okay.
I do wish they would do at least something like that. Like at least pick an like an album that all their fans kind of universally love.
It
Like
would
I
be
would
cool,
say
but
Kill would be a good one. Tomb of the Mutilated would be a good one. Um,
yeah,
yeah, you can't do that with a lot of these. Like
yeah,
no one's gonna land up at the door for um a Vile or Gallery of Suicide uh album anniversary tour. I do think it would be
yeah.
interesting if they kind of did what Acacia Strain did, to where every stop they do 2 nights, and you have
Mm,
like break it off into periods.
that would be
Like this night
sick.
will stick to this period, this second night will stick to this period. I think that would be
That would
good
be
for them.
super tight. Yeah.
All right, so
Oh yeah.
you get
Cannibal
to pick
Corpse.
next week's.
Ooh. Hmm. Let me see here. Let me do some digging real quick. Okay. I mean, if I'm gonna pick, then oh, what should I just picked up I just looked at the fans also like section on Spotify of Cannibal Corpse, and it's just like a great section too. I'm already seeing bands. I'm just like, oh, we could do that. Um, I don't know. I kind of feel like switching up the vibes on you. You want to do Watain?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
because
I
I
can't
was
hear you.
also
Your mic cut out. Oh, there
absolutely.
you are. Okay.
Yeah, I was because I was already had my plan, and it was also going to be black metal.
Oh, wow, nice. Okay. Yeah, one of the first bands. It's funny. The first band that is on Cannibal Corpse's fans also like is Mayhem. Isn't that weird?
They did a tour together, didn't they? And they didn't come anywhere near us. Because that'd be a great tour to go see.
Oh man, that would be awesome. That'd be wild, dude. Two pretty controversial metal bands.
Yeah, two somewhat similar but different genres, but the two
Hmm.
bands that are like the faces of those genres.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely up there.
All
Yeah, man.
right,
Let's do Watain. For
all
those
right.
that don't know, it's my favorite black metal band out there.
Uh,
Whoever cares.
I gotta think. So, what is there? How many albums do they have? Because I'm familiar with like
They don't have a long one. We're looking at like five or six, I think.
all right, because which is first is or not necessarily first. Which came before? Is it Lawless Darkness or Sworn to the Black? Which one is older?
I actually think their very first one was Rabid Death's Curse.
I gotcha. Then it was like what Cassus Luciferi.
Or yeah, that's right. And then Sworn to the Dark.
Okay, so Sworn. That was when I listened to him, found him later, but I haven't really listened to anything before Sworn to the Dark or Sworn to the Black, whichever one it was. So this will be
Yeah.
interesting.
They're all really good. I can honestly, yeah. We'll get into that next week apparently. So,
All right.
but yeah.
All right. So yeah, next week talk about Watain, but this week we're just gonna wrap things up by saying you should go check us out on TikTok. You should check us out on Spotify, YouTube. Make sure if you go to YouTube, you drop a subscribe. TikTok, you follow us. Check us out on Facebook. Uh, Come out with a new release playlist this week. Apparently, I was wrong on the big week of releases being this Friday. Apparently, that's next Friday with the Nile, Flesh God
Oh,
Apocalypse,
you
um,
son of a bitch.
Zeal and Ardor. Yeah, it's not this week; it's next week. I was wrong on that, but it's coming up.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
at least we got something to look forward to.
Yep. On that, I guess we will see you all next week. Death Metal Daddy's out.
Death Metal Daddy's out. Just kind of running on caffeine, really.